Welcome to the CELUM User Academy. My name is Isabel and I will be your host today. We will be guided through the user interface of CELUM Nova and learn how to best use it to improve and speed up our daily work with content. Before we start, let me just mention that this session will be recorded and that we will be sending the recording in the upcoming days. If you have any questions you would like to ask our expert, please write them down in the GoToWebinar question box on the right-hand side of the screen. We will answer as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation. Our expert today is Georg Weyreder. He is Team Lead Technical Sales and Pre-Sales at CELUM and therefore well-versed in our products. So this really is your chance to ask him all your questions about the CELUM Nova user interface in our Q&A session. Hi Georg, thanks for presenting our Nova UI live today. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, thank you, Isabel, for the nice introduction, and also a good afternoon from my side. What we will see today is a walkthrough through the upload, creating of collections, also tagging, of course, and also an outlook to the libraries and portals and how to use them.
Mm-hmm. Great. So all the important stuff we need in our daily work.
Exactly. That's it.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to that.
Exactly. Then let's kick it off and let's start. I will share my screen.
Perfect.
You should now see my screen, hopefully.
Yes, we can see the CELUM dashboard.
Perfect. Before we have a look into the system, also some short info I want to give you, and also the agenda we discussed. So I want to show you the dashboard and what is possible with the Nova dashboard, the collection creating, also how to upload the assets through the browser or also through Drive, for example, from single files to bulk uploads. The topic around manual tagging or AI tagging, in that time, you know, also services support the tagging, make it faster. Then also the search and the filtering. We also have in the Nova UI the extended image editor with more capabilities. And last but not least, we will see the new topic around CELUM portals using libraries for seamless sharing.
Perfect.
And as Isabel mentioned before, if you have questions, please post them in the chat section, then we will answer it later. All right, then let's kick it off. As mentioned, so in comparison to our old user interface, the so-called advanced UI, there are some benefits and also some there were some limits in the old user interface versus the Nova UI. And what you can see here, for example, the advanced UI was more old style from the user experience, user interface. It was also, or it is also too powerful for the casual users. So we see the advanced UI for the administrative tasks. So if you're an CELUM administrator, you can do everything there, but not for the casual users or contributor users. Good, yeah, it was also sometimes hard to find the content. There was also no filtering possible, just in the advanced search kind of filtering. And last but not least, also it was not or is not optimized for mobile usage. So if you have users who access the system via tablets, for example, it was not the ideal user experience in the old user interface. So in comparison or from Nova UI perspective, there are some benefits, what you can see. And you have a modern and easy to use user interface and user experience. You have additionally in the Nova UI an interactive onboarding assistant, which we'll also see a little bit later in the demo. You can also customize the dashboard fully, so you can add your input there, your content there. You have a better content exploration with using the filters to find the content. You can also use the built-in document search and highlighting. So if you have a document, you can also search in documents directly. You have the extended image editor with more capabilities and more features in comparison to the old one. There's also a new metadata type called tag reference for smart tagging, smart and fast, quick adding tags to the assets. You also have the similarity search, so based on artificial intelligence. So the system in the Nova UI will show you similar assets. And it's also optimized for mobile devices. And last but not least, again, quite new topic, we have the default placeholder asset function. It's part of the standard product, and the compound objects, which is indeed not part of the default product, but then function which is possible, which we'll also see a little bit later. Good. That's it. So the theoretical input, the rough overview between Advanced UI and Nova UI, but I would say we don't have that much time and I want to show it to you directly in the system. So let's move on. And you should now see my Nova UI dashboard, which is also branded with an fictional brand called Green MG. So also to show you how you can also brand the system using your logos, your colors, your background images, of course. But as mentioned before, so first of all, the dashboard, when a user logs in, the first thing what he will see is the Nova UI dashboard, which can be adapted and customized. So everything what you see here on my left side here, so the video tutorial area, or also this upload area, the explore and manage button here, and also this quick links can be adapted. So you can link to your personal individual websites or places. You can also add an own video tutorial area or slideshow here, a carousel called. That's up to you. So that's possible to also make it more user friendly and more customer friendly to add personal input here. And on the right side, the user will also see the most recent asset. So where the user, of course, has the permissions. So what was uploaded, what was changed, where metadata maybe was changed, and the favorite section. So also for directly jumping to single assets or single structures, collections, folders, and so on, each user is possible to add here his personal favorites. And the thing I mentioned before is this interactive assistant, which is available in the Nova UI, and that's also very nice for rolling out the Nova UI or the system, the user interface, or also rolling out the system itself, that you have this little onboarding assistant for a better user adoption, so to speak. So when I click, for example, when the user would click here on a specific tour, for example, sharing the content, he would be directly guided through the system how sharing, for example, would be possible. And the assistant is coming with this default set of tours, but of course also this step here, or this assistant, can be extended with very personal individual tours, for example. All right, good. That's the dashboard, also as mentioned, optimized for mobile usage. So if I would make this screen smaller, for example, or larger, yeah, it's also optimized for smaller tablet devices, for example. For smartphones or for very small devices, as mentioned, for example, smartphones, we also offer an mobile app for iOS and Android, so that's also for much better experience then. Good. Let's jump to the most important structure, and that's of course the Explore view, where the content will be managed, organized, can be found, and is saved here or linked here. What does that mean? So here I have an individual structure in my workspace. Additionally, I can also have additional structures like an product tree, where all my products will be maintained, for example, or I can also have campaign structures, but that's flexible and individual. So everything, every collection type, so that thingy here is called collection type, is customizable and adapted to the customer what is needed. But if we use the workspace structure, one of the most important structures here, you will see that we have here multiple folders. Of course, also the folder structure is flexible, so each company, each user can, based on the permissions, of course, add his personal folders, and that's also what we do now. So if I would, for example, create here a new collection, right-click on the folder here, create collection, and now I can directly add a new folder here. For example, called product in multiple languages possible, of course. And what you see on the left side, what is quite new, is the so-called compound types and compound information, to also having an validation in the system based on specific criteria. So the compound type could be like a brochure, it could be like a product type, it could be like an technical documentation in multiple languages, but that's also configurable, what is possible, is available in the drop-down here. But this is like your quality gate or your validation, what you need from asset perspective in that collection, for example, and also with an additional preview element. So if I would now I want to create the product collection. I want to also have here this validation in place, that all my assets in the product folder should have this different perspectives. So and shot from the side and shot from the mood shot and front shot and so on. And if I save that, I have now, first of all, the empty folder. And when I upload in the next step the assets, then we'll see how the compound information will work in detail. So before we upload as a next step the assets, also again, what is from the user perspective thingy here, I mentioned that you have the compound types, and what I got here as a new indication and bullet is the status bullet here from the compound type. So when I add here the sidebar, I will see the status of my product, so to say. So with the missing elements, which are not in place yet because I need to upload them, the folder is empty, but after we do that, it will change to green in the next step. And from the user interface perspective, also you will see here the magic menu. So the user can indeed use the context menu on folder level. So with a right click with the mouse, I can do every action, but also for tablet optimized usage, the user can every time use the magic menu here, for example, also to upload content, to add versions, to edit the collection, and so on. And also everything what is in this context menu with the right click mouse menu is also available here for tablet usage. All right, then let's upload now the assets. And that's possible either via drag and drop or also via the button, or also here on the folder level. I'll do it via drag and drop. I have here my assets and I want to them to the system. So I don't know if you can see this, but there is my Windows task menu bar here, but there is this snack bar in the left corner where you have the upload progress bar. And based on that, I can also, for example, directly start the tagging on it. So I have here my 5 new assets. And the first thing what will be usually done also is, first of all, if duplicates are in the system already, so the duplicate check on upload, and if no duplicates were found, I can directly start to tag the assets, what you see here in my system. From duplicate check perspective, so sorry, I'll show you how that would work. So if I would again upload the assets, let's do that, then the duplicate check will notice that they are already in the system. So same assets will be uploaded again. And now you see also here the snack bar in my system. And after the upload is happening, there is the duplicate check here, the overview. And now the user with the right permissions can decide what should happen with the duplicates. Duplicate check is configurable, so based on, for example, the file name or the file size, or also the hash value, that identical assets will be shown which are already in the system. But based on my permissions, I can now decide, okay, I want to keep it. It should be, I force the upload, so to speak, or I want to remove it because I already have the duplicate. So keep, remove is possible. So forcing the upload or removing the duplicate. And I can also link the product. Link the product or link the existing asset to the upload folder I started the upload. So if you imagine you have an asset in a complete different structure, and I want to upload it to my product folder. In my example here, I can link the existing asset from the previous folder, from the complete different folder, to my product folder, just here with this button, link to product, for example. Yeah, that's it. So I have these 3 options. So in my example, I'll remove all the duplicates because we already have it in the system. And what is not known, but also a very nice feature, is also adding new versions to the system. So what you have seen now is the duplicate check if identical assets will be found based on file name, file size, and the hash value as mentioned. But the system offers also, in this showcase logo, for example, to add new versions in bulk. So that's a very, not often very used feature, but very helpful. So if I start that here, also I can, the system shows me now the version upload. And if I have 3 existing assets here and I want to do the version check on upload in my case. So 3 are in the system, I want to upload 4 assets, but maybe there are already the existing versions there. If I start that, the system is now telling me there is an existing version based on the file name again, and now I could directly add a new version to the existing asset. So that's a little bit a different use case, right? In comparison to the duplicate check. So in the duplicate check review, you can keep it, you can remove it, you can link the existing asset. And here, using that feature, you can also directly add new versions to existing assets. So in my example, the current version is a blue logo and the new version would be a green logo. And with that click here, I can change that and the new logo would be added as a new version here, the second one. All right, good. Then let's move on. So we stopped before in the product tab. We uploaded, or in the product collection here, we uploaded a set of assets, but what is missing is the metadata tagging as a next step. So I am able to edit the metadata from the, or start the tagging from the context menu. I will do it again also to see it, so you can directly start it here from edit metadata from the button here, or again from the context menu, edit the metadata here. And first thing, what we will see is the assigning the asset type, because all of them are simple files, but with the asset type, you define what use case they have. So is this a marketing material or collateral? Is this a product content? Is this maybe from events or also for campaigns intended? And based on this categorization or asset type selection, just the relevant metadata will be shown. So the same thing what you had before in the advanced UI again, but a very nice feature to just show the necessary metadata to the user. Yeah, in that case, I select product content, and now I can directly start to tag the assets manually, like the availability again. So it's, for example, date controlled, and I can just use it until end of November, for example, here, or a specific status as a mandatory field. So that one is new, for example. A description in several languages, of course, is possible. So green MG products, for example, and so on. So that would be different options, and also just a best practice overview about the list of metadata, but it's of course configurable which fields are necessary for the user. Yeah, just select some values here. So a rating or also a channel for where can it be used for different regions or for different systems or persons, also groups, and copyright and so on. But that's also not quite new. That was also possible in the advanced UI. In the Nova, you have this maybe better overview and visualization about the different asset types and tagging. Good. If I save that, okay. Yeah, that's now a good point, because I added there an invalid information here, what you saw, and the system is then also showing me, oh, stop, you added invalid information, and the user could then, for example, also change that. I skipped that also now to be much quicker here, but as mentioned, for adding invalid input, as you see, the system will also show that. Good. So we added here our tags in the system, and also artificial intelligence can help us to do that. So either we directly started manually on these assets, so that can be done either from the user, triggering it via the menu entry here, or of course it can also be a background task to do that automatically in the background. I already did that for some of the assets, for this marketing images here, for example. And if we check one of them, you see that we have here some information already. So let's check where we have something here. Yeah. Or we also trigger it again get more information. So that's happening through seconds. And if I again go into the section here, you will see below the manual tags also this AI fields here, what did the AI service found. And this can be, of course, image descriptions or AI tags, so object recognition. This can be also like text on images like OCR or an automatic caption also for SEO use cases, for example. And all of that will help us later in finding the assets. So also if a user would like to find the assets through the Nova UI, also through portals, it's much quicker to find them using the AI service in the background. Good. All right. Yeah, then let's do that. So we now uploaded the assets. We also added some tags there. And now, of course, the users want to find them. And they can search or find the assets either via the global search here. Also, the recent assets will be displayed here. And if I would now search for scooter, for example, all of my scooter images should be seen here. And the search itself is searching through the file name, through the documents, also the text in documents will be indexed, also through technical metadata like EXIF information, IPTC and XMP information. So everything what you can imagine from information perspective can be or will be searched in the system. The search can also be configured very easily here when clicking on this button. So what should be searched and found? So the file content from PDFs, documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and so on, for example, the name, or also the asset path or localized text field. So if a user is maybe not searching for French text or German text, he can also exclude that and just text information in English will be searched in my case. Yeah, and besides of using this global search or also the advanced search, which is available here in the left section here. So clicking on the search button here, again, I can also add specific filters or widgets. And the user can then search, for example, for a specific availability or name. So that's also user-based, what should be in the advanced search. But based on that, I can also do a more deeper search here. Yeah, but beside of the quick global search or the advanced search, the user can also use the filtering, which was not possible in the advanced UI. That you have on the right corner here, these different filters to also filter through different media types or an status or an orientation, size, and so on. So maybe I want to have just small images with a specific status, just the new ones, and maybe they have a specific copyright and so on. So based on these filterings, which will also be shown here then, below the title, I have the result of 47 results and all of my filter snippets or tags. Good. That's the search and the filtering. So, and I promised before that I will also show you more about the compound types. So we still have here this red bullet, this red indication that the missing elements are here and there, but we can quickly change that. So when I go back here to the metadata editing and that would be, for example, so again, I was a little bit too quick and too fast. So again, I have here my combined batch editing, but I can also just select single assets in the tagging to just change single values or edit the metadata for single assets. Good. So we have here our bike, and that's, for example, the front shot. I save that. I'll do the same for the second one, for example. That's the perspective hero shot, for example, and so on. Good. And if I do that, so first of all, that's also possible manually or automatically. So what I did, like adding a perspective or information, I can also use that from a file name, for example, to add it automatically to the metadata. But based on that, the color changed from red to orange because now we have our valid elements here in the collection. So the front shot and the hero shot are in there, but still missing are the mood shot, pack shot, and side shot, for example. So that's a very nice feature for having a quality gate, a validation, also for a large amount of products, for example, and quite new and quite handy. Good. All right. So we have seen the upload, the tagging, also the search and the filtering. What is still missing is the download and the modification. And we also have in the system an advanced or extended image editor. So again, if I right click on an asset, I have here the option edit image, or in the preview, I also have here the option to edit the image. Let's do that. And with the image editor, the user has the option to manually crop the asset. And what was added there in comparison to the old image editor is this templating feature. So if you already have different templates for your social media use cases or for your website or for different use cases, you can directly add all your renditions or sizes here. You can also do the standard stuff like flipping or turning or rotating the asset, but based on that, I can also download the asset in my needed file format and color space, which is needed. Yeah, so that was added, that you have templates here and an extended image editor. So, and if we do that again, so I want to have it as JPEG in a specific color space, the download will happening for one single asset. So if we open that, here we have the same cropping. Download, of course, is also possible on multiple assets. So I can also select all of them with Shift on my keyboard. I can also download them as a bulk in a needed format. So that's the so-called download formats, of course, which you know from the advanced UI. But based on that, I can also, for all of my images here, select the target format and they will be downloaded as a zip file. Good, all right. That's it. So what I want to share with you is also the topic portalization. So with portals, so the difference between what you see in Nova and in portals is the audience. So when I use Nova UI, I'm a power user, I'm a heavy user, I'm uploading content, I'm tagging content, everything what you see before. but for the simple casual users who just need to use the content, we provide a portal or a front end. And not just one portal, it can be also multiple portals based on the use case. For example, internal portal for a sales team, also for suppliers, partners, and so on for press. So there are multiple use cases possible, but that's the simple, easy to use front-end microsite to access the content or a predefined content. And if we do the same as before, we searched for scooter. So I'll do the same here. I'm searching for scooter. And now I have also here my set of results in the system. And again, also the possibility to filter it. So just images or with a specific copyright, with a license information, or based on specific AI text which were found. So maybe just the mopeds here or specific channels. So these are these facets, also faceted search calls, so I can combine them. So I want a combined image and moped, for example, here to have just the relevant search result. What you see here is one example of a final protected portal. So the portals can, or the frontends can be public or protected. And in the system, from the Nova UI perspective again, or from the power user perspective again, you can change the look and feel directly in the system. So that's something what the user, the client, can do without CELUM support. So how the look and feel should be from the background image, about the facets here, so which facets or filters should be available, and also of course which content should be shown, and that's based on libraries. So the libraries are so-called playlists. So you define a library in the Content Hub or in the Nova UI, like a search, and this library will then be used in one or many portals. Good. All right. So I think we're coming to the end of this webinar and also from my agenda. Before we switch to the Q&A section or Q&A part of the presentation, I want to share with you again how we help the user, so where Nova UI information can be found. And there are three things what we would see. First thing is the help center. So the CELUM help, which can be accessed through the system on the question mark in the system bar on the left side. So if we switch back again in the system, you have here the question mark, and here is the help center linked. And there you have help.celum.com, where also the Nova UI is described and the user can see all the documentation here. So that's one thing where the user can read through. A second thing is what we saw before is the video tutorial and the onboarding assistant on the dashboard, which will also guide the user through the Nova UI. And the third thing is a custom user training. So that's also possible, so that we do individual trainings, very specific trainings based on the needs with our clients to support and help how to use Nova, for example. Good. All right. That's it. I would say now we're coming to the Q&A part, and I have seen there are some questions.
Yes, indeed. We've got a couple of questions actually. I'll just start with the first one. We have exposed a collection using smart views for to provide the view to the partners. Can you please explain the portal view of Nova UI, and can we leverage Nova UI to generate views the way we have done using the smart views?
Exactly. So Smart Views is also one option to share content. So besides of the pin links, besides of the portal, Smart View is also one option to have a very simple portal for having the content or sharing the content. And the difference to portals, what you saw before, is first thing, a Smart View is per se public. So no authentication possible. With portals, you have the possibility. The second difference is also that you can change the look and feel of the portal directly through this visual designer in the system. And also from sharing perspective, a smart view is linked to a specific structure. So you link your assets to a structure, you put a smart view on it, and then you share it here. Portals or the libraries, what you saw before, have a little bit the more flexible way to share the content. So you don't need to link them before. So you have a filter, you have a search, and this search or filtering will then be saved in a library, and the library will saved or shared in the portal. So you don't need to link them to a structure.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is it also possible to assign different metadata to individual assets in the second step of the bulk assignment? Already known functionality from the advanced UI.
Yeah, you maybe have seen that before. It was then later shown by me, but yes, so you have this bulk editing where you have maybe 10 assets, but you can also select a smaller amount of these 10 to also add text there. So you can also select 2 or 3 of the 10 to also edit the metadata just for them. So yes, that's possible.
Okay. What is the behavior of duplicates when we migrate them from advanced, or when we migrate from advanced to Nova UI?
Yeah, basically there should be no impact because the Nova UI is just the user interface, but from the technical perspective, from the backend, also from handling how the duplicates will be handled, there is no difference. Also, the duplicate check in the advanced UI was how to say that, was also doing it the same way. So there was, from technical perspective, no change.
Okay. Then the next question is, the creation of an asset relation across several assets is no longer done in the clipboard, but directly in the previously selected collection by dragging the corresponding assets on top of each other, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So that's the relation thing. You can drag and drop one asset to another asset, and then you create an relation. But you mentioned the clipboard in your question, and the clipboard is also planned on the roadmap. So in some of the future releases, the clipboard is also coming back.
Perfect. Can we extend this cropping screen with multiple crops and resize? Means, can we have multiple crops for a single asset?
Yeah, that's also something what we know and what we would like also to provide in future, like how different croppings will be done on an asset. So that will be the next step of the image editor. So yes, we already know that requirement and this feature request, and we will work on that. It's already planned in the backlog of our product.
Mm-hmm. Is the new image editor standard in Nova UI?
Yes, it is.
Right. The portals, do they have authentication and authorization?
Yes, yes. So that's also the difference to pin links or smart views, that you can also have like an login for a protected portal.
Yes, we will. It is possible that we send the PowerPoint slides together with the recording. Can we migrate smart views to portal views?
Of course, that's possible, sure. So we would need to check how the smart views would be created at the moment and how many smart views, but of course, that's possible to use portals instead of smart views.
Mm-hmm. And the last question is, are there any licensing restrictions on number of portal views?
So yes, portals is an license part of the system. So yes, based on the requirements and also how many portals are needed, there is a licensing restriction for it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also something we can for sure discuss in detail with you if you have more questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all your questions, and thanks Jörg for answering them all.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time. So hopefully you can see that our next webinar will take place on the 5th of October, where Michael Kräftner, CELUM's founder and CEO, will be talking about effortless document delivery. So I hope that we will meet there again. I will send you all the details and the registration link together with the slides and the recording in the upcoming days. I would once again say thank you to Georg for this really interesting and easy to follow session. Thank you very much, dear guests, for your time and your interests. If you have any further questions, please contact us, write to us, call us. We will be happy to answer them. And I now wish you a very pleasant evening and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.